This is a death certificate. The child died 3 years and 13 days old. Man was an attorney down in that area, her father. I'm going too fast, aren't I? No? Keep it going, Edna, fast? Okay, Edna suffering attention deficit problems here tonight in the heat. Mary Potts Wright, an extremely rich document owned by the Old Barracks Association in Trenton, which of course is a military institution but served as a depository for a lot of people's artifacts for many years. This turned up there. Both the Wrights and the Potts were prominent up in that section. Here are some actual documents. Save that until later. I gotta read. There's one in here Irene's especially fond of. I'll send that around. You'll see why she likes it. But here are some of the real things. Back when these things weren't so expensive, or when I was feeling reckless, my wife and I collected a few of them. We can't.
Probably don't want to tell them what expensive it is.
We can't much afford them anymore. Tell what?
Probably don't want to tell them what expensive it is.
Oh, I'll show you one that's expensive. These were not very expensive many years ago. But if they get in the hands of someone in the upper levels of the artifacts, documents, or antiques trade, then they become painfully expensive. And her middle initial is not E. Her last name is capital E-O-F-F. Her family settled the Pluckerman area, and I have not proved conclusively, but I'm 99% certain this is a descendant of that New Jersey branch of a better known or more populous New York State family, not far from New York City. But there was a group that settled what is now Pluckerman, had a tavern there and so on, not far from Somerville, if you're not familiar with Pluckerman.
That's an original?
This is an original. It was in rough shape. It's been through professional conservation. You can see it along the left-hand margin, the Japanese rice paper. It's been mounted on now, which is the least acidic product, right? Edna, sounds familiar?
Yeah, that's what
I understand Edna is your archivist,
No, not
officially or unofficially. Here's the one of the dead child. I didn't realize I had it in the back. This is the real thing, so you'll enjoy that when it... This is my favorite artist for sentimental reasons, because the one for Abigail Turner that I don't have with me tonight, but you saw a photograph of, this one my grandmother gave me when I was quite a youngster, and that's what started me on all this. That one, which I have slides up tonight so you can see it in color. One more of the real ones. This has also been through professional conservation. It was not matted when it was originally installed in what I believe is its first frame. It was not matted, but the border stops where you see it, so the matting doesn't obscure anything. This is Permelia Hinksman Rambo. No relationship to Sylvester. An old Swedish, I was going to say Finnish, an old Swedish family name over on the river and up every creek, and maybe over this way also, but I don't know for sure. Irene, you want to put these in bags when they come around to you eventually, please? Here's one that another family register, apparently done as late as 1858, pretty ordinary looking at dull colors, but it gives a little bit of an idea of the wide range of material that is available in this New Jersey. I say wide range, that makes it sound like they're numerous, they're not. But they're around and nobody's paying any attention but me. So some years ago, this was 1987, published a nice detailed article in New Jersey History where you can read about it. I'm not selling them, but the state still has plenty left if you want to send them. I forget what they charge. Actually, tell me, I'll donate one to the library here that nobody has to buy it. If anybody wants to read it, you can just... I think I have a couple things marked in this one, but I mean, you don't have a copy here in the library, or Edna, do you, of this journal?
No.
I'll send a copy down, then you can read it. I don't have to send a photocopy. If anybody is so foolish as to want to read all that. Did you notice in the press recently that one of these documents brought $145,000? Did you see that? Several people. Here's a photocopy of it, of an article on it, the first part. Very bad, pretty poor reproduction here. I didn't see the document. This is a Pennsylvania German. Fraktur, fracture, as some people say. Fracture is okay. Fraktur, if you want to get really Germanic about it. A woman, a curator of a small agency in Bethlehem said she saw it, and these little vignettes are just absolutely exquisite, she said. The four seasons in the four corners. Other people say it isn't that special a document, but there's a lot of drug money being hidden in these spectacular artifact prices lately. I don't know what the truth of the situation is. Here's the one Irene always wants to see, so we'll start that with Irene. And you'll see why Irene is so fond of.
They might not know.
Well, it says Cumberland County.
I know, but it's my relative.
Oh, I was forgetting that.
I thought that's what you meant.
No, I'm thinking she's buried. The subject of this little document is buried in Haleyville. Mary Ann Shelton,
Relative to my grandfather Reeves.
relative to a lot of other people around.
Oh, yeah. My goodness, Joe was. Yeah, they had 12 children.
She won't let me kid her about that one, not for a moment.
David,
Yes.
on this one were Sarah Gilmore. They're like Christmas tree ornaments. They're like between. Is there any symbolism in those?
I don't know. The man used the circles again here, but not sort of like Christmas tree ornaments, or somebody said laboratory equipment with the, I don't know what those are called, those tubes. This artist liked those circular devices, and I don't know what they signify. The lower ones usually have this bias material in that one. I think the verses in the bottom corners are obliterated, but they wouldn't explain the circles anyway, so I don't know. People ask if the ships have significance to the family. If they talk about what I call symbolism, other people these days fashionably use the fashionable term iconography, symbols. I think the ships, these were what people call cheap paintings. I think these were grinders. School teachers did these, and they were doing them for a few extra pennies in most cases. I don't mean they were all done by school teachers. Students would imitate the teacher. Maybe a teacher would teach a student to do them, but primarily, let me say, wherever I've been able to locate data on anyone who signed one as artist, that person has turned out to be a school teacher. I haven't located very many signed by the artist. In that small group, I've documented even a smaller number of people. They were always teachers, and I think they were practically starving. Unlike what some of you may think about the fabulous pay of teachers today, I think a long time ago they were really hungry. So I won't get into that. I'm not here to convince you how to vote. I'll change the subject. I think he had his collection of designs down and whipped them out, and you can even find some that are not completed yet because he didn't know who he was going to sell them to. And I say, like the primitive portraits. And I say he because in every case so far that I've documented, the person has been a male teacher. Questions for you? What can I say before we go through some of them in color on the wall? Nobody?
Where's the Shelbourne?
Here's Shelbourne. Go back.
We asked something.
Yes.
There's one in there that talks about, this girl, I don't have any, she were baptized like Christian.
She were baptized Christian like.
I mean, is that the language way it spoke, or is that somebody with bad grammar?
She were baptized Christian like. That's the man who wrote that is named Johann Spangenberg or something like that, German, John Spangenberg in English. He was a school teacher in Easton, Pennsylvania. It's the Sussex County one from the 1780s or 90s or whatever. That's the level of literacy that you might have achieved when you set up shop even as a school teacher. So the literate is
stronger than that.
now, I'm assuming that that's non-standard grammar, even for the time. But the schoolmaster slipped. Maybe I'm wrong.
If he had had neighbors from Northumberland or like that, they used all the
All right, then there may be another reason.
Yeah, it sounds very good.
The man is, as far as I know, Spangenberg, they say in Warren County, New Jersey, for that family. As far as I know, the man was of Germanic origin, but I might be wrong about his use of it.
Well, he had neighbors who spoke the world.
All right. He was okay anyway, by one definition or another.
The papers in Morristown still say Berkeley, with the African.
Still using plain, yeah. Okay, I didn't answer you very well, not much help there. You'll also find errors in spelling by educated types in this period. Spelling didn't settle down until the mid-19th century. I'm guessing when I say I assume it's non-standard usage. I might be wrong. Time for pictures?
You want to go straight through, or should we bring for a refreshment?
What do you want to do? I'm here to have fun. Just don't want people, if we turn the lights out, you're not allowed to fall asleep on me or sneak out the door, that's all. So it's a time to-
Keep going.
All right, then what we need to do is, I need a little bit of light, so maybe I'll stand over here in the kitchen doorway and where I can see, and we'll look at what comes up here.
And want these off?
Oh, can you see all right with the lights on? Just stay right here. Like that better? All right. I can see right here, and I can stand and block it off. Just a couple of fast glimpses from the projector on the left where George is. Please slide. I'll holler George when it's time for another one from the other projector. These are European illuminations from which this American folk art derives. This is the last gasp of what started out, as some of you know, years earlier. This is a sheet from a 10th century French book of hours owned in the Free Library in Philadelphia. It, according to my note, an hour equals a time of daily devotion. I don't know devotional patterns like that. I don't know if they're still current in any of the faiths, but you saw fish at the bottom of Abigail Turner's. You'll see it again. Abigail Turner, that's one my grandmother gave me from her family. Abigail Turner's father was a very active lay preacher in the Methodist Church. And I think maybe the fish was popped in there for that particular custom, because the fish is done with a freer or more amateurish style than the other designs. And I haven't seen that fish, and I've seen a number of pieces of this guy's work. I'm picking too long. Let's have the next one on your left, George. Another French one about 1430 with somebody's modern hand in it. This piece concerns the relevance of reason. These are blurry for me up here, which is fine. Are they all right for you where you are? Do we need focusing? It's a little... George, you know where that focus thing is at the top of your remote, or on the right there, or left?
That is focus, yeah.
A little lever. Push it and see if it, either way, and see if it cleans up a little bit. Any better?
That's
Okay.
Yeah.
But George, it might give you grief from slide to slide, so we'll just ask you to play with it.
a little there.
I'm not sure why anybody wants to preach reason to the newly married. That's, even after all these years of my marriage, it still seems comical to me. But there it is. I can't read it for you. Another one. Here's a Pennsylvania German number, rich in its... Isn't that wonderful? That's by the well-known Pennsylvania German Proctor artist Heinrich Otto. It's done about 1775. And there is a border on the left, but it doesn't show. And we're going to hurry because that's not New Jersey. We're going to see another one. Another one. A wonderful book plate for Maria Oberholzerin, or something like that. That IN, you know, German diminutive for female. I just love that stuff. Nothing really that dramatic in New Jersey Proctor work, to be fair. I don't really like to admit it. I just think that's absolutely striking. Another one, please, George. This is a writing copy manuscript belonging to Christian Herr. Oh, there it is, Christian Herr. And, oh, it's even in English. At least the inscription at the bottom is. No, please. Show you how strange they can become. We're going to draw a blank next. I linked the next slide to a woman where I lectured last because she liked the birds, the rusts and browns and yellows so much. She asked if she could borrow the slide. I sent it to her because she does hook grubs. And I told her I needed to bring to Mauricetown. There it is. And she neglected to mail it back to me, so I got it again. This is, I think, maybe the last of my Pennsylvania German ones, just to show you some of their work. This artist worked up in Center County, and he did several different types, but this is a design I like a great deal. Once in a while, he put flowers on there. I don't know if anyone's demonstrated it. I haven't read it, whether he had them for drinkers and non-drinkers. But he did definitely use the same form, man and woman and all that, little table. Sometimes the carafe and glass, and sometimes a little bunch of flowers in the hand. I find this stuff just absolutely delightful.
Were these usually done by people in the family? They were
Sometimes,
like the traveling.
Sometimes I think by a family member, but I think primarily by schoolmasters. And I'm not sure. I read that a lot of the Pennsylvania German material was done by traveling artists. I wonder, I know schoolmasters, school teachers moved all around. Were paid very little, hired for very short periods, and often moved on.
What would you be doing today if you were? What would you do?
I don't know. They really were not, I don't know, school teachers pay and striking and how big my picket sign would be and all the rest of it right now. Where are we? Oh, this is the first New Jersey one. You saw this tonight in black and white.
Yeah.
Flask down here, sometimes they have glasses, there he is with his gun. But the subject is New Jersey, but the artist is the Easton. He was called for a long time the Easton Bible artist because he did a big book plate commemorating the donation of the Bible to the church by so-and-so. Then somebody got to work and finally found, they found one of his documents with a name on it, the artist's name, and tracked him down through deeds and that sort of thing. And he was a schoolmaster in Easton. And I guess this is the one that says, "Where Christian," it is, isn't it?
Yeah, gosh, for
A problem with which I really did not offer, one which I did not offer much help tonight. This, by the way, you won't see anywhere else. That's owned privately in a family hanging on their wall. It's just amazing what's survived and come down among relatives. You saw that one in the photograph. This is Thomas Stanger. Somebody put a W in there and wrote down Thomas Riggin Stanger and repeated the birthday. I'm sorry the colors aren't better. There's a cute little frame, like one that went around tonight, like the Rambo one, and it's the same artist. I'm just about positive. Thomas Stanger was a glass bar man. Next generation, I guess. I don't know if he was one of your, well, we don't have a date in front of us. I don't know if that Thomas Stanger, he would have been second generation, I guess. I have to check the birthday again. Second or third from the Stangers that, third, that Whisker brought over. I'm bad on dates without doing a lot of homework. When did you see this one in color? I guess I like the frames a lot, these little frames. This is not an original one. I had that cut down for it, but they're hard to find, those little late 18th century or very early 19th century OG walnut, although this is striped maple. This is not frames tonight. Next one. Sorry the slides don't do the colors of the original. These are absolutely gorgeous pale blues and browns. You can get a little of the flavor, but in the original, hanging, by the way, on the wall of the descendant who doesn't know who Betty Duryea is. The birth of Betty Duryea is noted in there in brown ink twice. Apparently back close to the time of the origin of the document. The family has lost track of who she is. The ancestor of the family member who owns it now is Catherine Rome, spelled Room. Common name up in the northern end of Mauricetown. Another one. That's a cute little thing. Now there's somebody's homemade repair filling in the corner. For George Case up in Hunterdon County, look what they did. Dropped a bit of their iron gall ink. And Edna knows what that does to paper. Right straight through. If you ever spend money on wine, even a little bit of money, look at the back and see if the browns and blacks are starting to show through, eating up the paper. Because the fakes, and there are expensive fakes out of Pennsylvania German pieces. The fakes, as far as I've seen or heard, the fakers haven't got that aging process down well. I can't say they haven't because I'm not up on fakes. Can you read that? London Grove, Burlington County, New Jersey. You know what I forgot, George? I've been whipping along here because of the heat and everything. We'll run through the other projector by itself. Thomas Sykes, Sykesville, near Wrightstown, where Fort Dix is. Have you heard of Sykesville? There's one unlike any other I've seen. He forgot wife. He stuck wife in, and he You forgot the R, one afternoon, stuck that in. Think ahead version. Isn't that rich? Look at the children and the squirrel and the bird and the little railing and the furniture. Somebody in the Pemberton section of Burlington County did a lot of these. And these are the only things the old timers would spend for the collectors 2 generations ago. Wouldn't bother with some of the scrappy little bits like the George Case you just saw. This is, I think, at, well, I have it in my notes, which I always find to be a nuisance. Well, I guess I don't have here, but I think it's at Williamsburg. It's not in Williamsburg, in Abbey, Aldrich Rockefeller stuff. It's at Winterthur. This one is definitely at Winterthur. Same artist. This artist produced a number of them, and somebody told me a man had one. He'd been given one by his aunt. He took it out of the frame to make a photocopy, and he found another one behind it in the frame. But his aunt had told him that everybody had always said there was a draft certificate behind the one of this type that you saw. I kind of think somebody said birth certificate, and they didn't check it. It just became corrupted to draft certificate because it was a second birth certificate. It's hard to imagine that after 200 years or more, this stuff is still hanging on descendants' walls here and there. Oh, that one's owned in the National Archives in Washington. You'll see a whole string of them. Does somebody here know how they got down there, these family records? Somebody doing your revolutionary research? You had to get a pension. You had to send in documentation that you were who you said you are, who you say you are, that you are who you say you are, or that you are the widow of the person you say you're the widow of, and therefore entitled to a pathetically small amount of money. Talk about depressed and underfunded people like school teachers. That one and several you're going to see now were sent in the early 19th century or the late 18th century to document, to prove that you were who you are, and therefore entitled to your little land grant or pension, or as a widow to something for your husband's service. They went down to Washington, they sat in the files until people got interested, and then they had an exhibition of family documents. The only New Jersey one that was in it that I remember was the one before that, the de Groot Lotterette one. But then when I found it was there, I went down to Washington and looked around. They gave me slides. I had to pay for slides. Out of the National Archives. This one was bought from a family in New Jersey, not by me, a few years ago. It's now in the New Jersey Historical Society, and is the first and last page of a 10-sheet booklet made by taking 5 pages this size, folding them over this way. So you open it up, and you see that one. And then you get to the bottom of that page after the other sheets, and you see this one, and you can probably, and you see some stitch holes through there somewhere right there, a faint line where it's been folded. It's an absolutely wonderful document. There are 10 of these things on 5 sheets. There's more of it. These are Burlington County people, although I suspect that Hancock artist in on some of it. I can't prove that. This is back to the National Archives in Washington. I had the slides in 2 separate carousels and things together, which is why we're switching back and forth, but I think we should rush. Irene, are you stifling asleep? No. You're just biting your lip in excitement. You're not stifling. You have to watch out for people suppressing yawns. This is the common puzzle. I'll read you another version, not that one, if I can find it on the card. I am constrained to plant a grove to entertain the maid I love. This grove it is for to compose 19 trees in 9 straight rows. 5 in each row I must place if ere I expect to see her face. Ye sons of art, lend me your aid, that I may win this lovely maid. That's a similar version to what you have up there, done in 1810 to commemorate his marriage. And he did it here. He was a school teacher. He enlisted in the Revolution in New Jersey, but they lived in Philadelphia at the time of their marriage. I don't know. He enlisted and was discharged in New Jersey. I suspect it counts as a New Jersey document, but I don't know because it celebrates their marriage in 1810, and his widow testified when she sent this to Washington that they lived in Philadelphia at or after their marriage. He was a teacher, and I'm sure he had to do a little geometry or something. I'm very good at that with his students. This one and maybe the next one coming are also in the archives to give you an idea of various styles. I like that one a lot. A whole lot. The Dickinson James Dickinson and Barbara Arntz lived in Pennsylvania when this was sent in, but very close to the New Jersey border, and I've seen other work like this in New Jersey. So I slide it in here, hoping someday I can prove that really is. Another family registered type. This is definitely New Jersey people. Also in the archives, and here's the one that causes Irene such pain.
Why West New Jersey?
Why West?
Why should it say
Well,
West?
technically east and west at that time. They were still using that terminology, I think, for the old divisions. That's my favorite, of course, that my grandmother gave me. Anything else in there, George? Try another hole. Okay, can you switch to the other projector?
One more.
Don't do that. We'll just take time. Well, go ahead. It's a Pennsylvania German one, but it's not so spectacular. Besides enduring Carolyn's support here as we set up this evening, I dropped my slides. I dropped my slides all over the floor. She caught me at that too.
Helen, will you please, that I make you nervous?
This is a this is a piece of the famous Ephrata stuff. They did fabulous frocked work at the Ephrata cloisters. This is a piece of it by their music numbers. I find it excruciatingly.
Are those European or are those American
That's
shaped notes?
I don't know. Don't know any
Turn on
music.
them.
George, we need another look at the last one, please. I don't know.
No, they're European.
Are they?
European
So
American.
they were doing
Not-
pure
not-
European stuff in Ephrata?
Not the southern or the New England shaped notes.
All new to me. I get an education every time I come out. I learn about American versus European notes. I learn how to pronounce Spangenberg, that's English. Beehive shaped blue and coral segments in it. Meant before I threw my slides around and also decided to hurry, meant to show next to the mother on the other side. The other one has Burlington County in it. It's really scarce to find a New Jersey place name in these. It's small. People ask how big they are. This one's only about this big.
How do you make it go, Jim?
Maybe we needed, sometimes the ones from Trenton State, the forward and reverse act the opposite of what they should.
This one's going on. Don't move, Jim.
Take that slide out.
You push both buttons?
Oh, I know what you have. Oh, no, you don't have to select, you just, did you do it either way, George? Just again, near Pemberton, and this is either, I guess I didn't put it in my notes, either Williamsburg or Winterthur. The Aesop's business, the fox and the grapes. There he is again up there. One of those came out of a house in Pemberton. At a backyard estate, little auction sale, empty out the house. About 5 years ago, it brought $6,000 sitting right there in the backyard, not to me. Here's one in very bad shape. You know your tax money is not going to Washington for conservation of New Jersey documents. This is in the archives down there. James Bud Goldie, but it's that artist again, as you can see. Often using people which the early collectors thought was just fabulous. And they paid a premium for that, the people making the documents. This one I also had for some reason in the other set of slides. It was on the wall briefly. The Groot Dutch Lotteret Huguenot from up in Hunterdon County, north of what was originally just north of Burlington County. It's now the very lower end of Hunterdon, and then Mercer steps in there. I think that's rich stuff. They join hands and hearts. Some of this material in these documents, all hand done, that you've seen. There are no printed ones that you've seen here tonight anywhere. Some of them were copied from commonly available prints. There's the colors defy comment. Really, I just shouldn't say anything. Aren't they wonderful?
Using symbols for words, the Rebus form is very popular. In fact, you see it these days.
Where am I in the Rebus?
The previous
Oh, the one before that.
Oh, the one before it. Okay, I was trying to connect it with this. I don't know if this is a whole one or not. It's missing stuff down here. This is in the Hoogland. This is in the National Archives. It's by an artist named James Anson, who worked on both sides of the North Jersey-New York border. There's William Hancock, sister of Susanna. You saw Susanna in a black and white. This is the brother, not a sister, of Susanna. That's the page again. I showed you the page of the other set also. I had them opposite different pages. This looks like some of the divisions of the Burlington County artists, not this one, the other one. Go ahead, George, we'll get to one. There's another one from the State Archives, all black, but David Rogers did this one, and he did the other one, this type you saw in the other carousel. Another family record from the State Archives. These are New Jersey documents. There's a wide range of types. There's yet another one now in Washington. And another one. And Abigail, that's Abigail. That's Abigail Turner. That's what she looked like later on when she was Abigail Atwood. Third husband.
Third husband?
Third husband.
Bring one chick.
Third?
Kind of serious.
Usually the other way around.
No smile on her face.
She didn't survive the third one.
No, there was no smile on her
Guess she
face.
wore out.
No, she died of it. She had a tumor and threw back this little bucket. It was so big.
Well, that looks like a McGrail thing.
Well, yeah, it is. It is taken from one. And when they were out riding in the country, she'd say, "Pap, I cannot look," and she'd turn her face away from the people that were picnicking because it was sinful. And Pap, I cannot abide the tobacco. She didn't want visitors who smoked when she was dying. This is, again, this artist, but look how plain. Look how plain. See how plain he didn't do any of the special stuff. I assume that person didn't want to pay as much, or if he made gifts, he didn't care to do the work. No ships, no houses, no trees, no... There she is with her third husband. Abigail looks a little more friendly. Just a little. That's the
He looks
third.
like he was out to bury her in that picture.
He did. He outlived her. And there she is. This is Abigail's, I don't know, this is my daughter, and that's my grandmother a million years ago, descendants of Abigail Turner, and I think that's the end, George, but try and see if there's anything else. Oh, I've got to tell you about two more. That's good. 40 minutes. Racing pays off, but it was George down there egging us on to help.
I'm hungry.
This is who? Somebody who's had their Bible school, Sunday school lessons more recently than I. Who is it appearing before Jesus? Is it Rebecca at the well? Is this her bucket?
Looks
And I
like
think-
Rebecca at the well.
And there's a well. All right, this is Rebecca at the well. This one and another one showing the death of General Butler, which I didn't know anything about. Neighbors, I say neighbors, loosely speaking, in the Hopewell Valley, around the area where I live. Neighbors knocked at the door one afternoon a couple of years ago and said, "We understand you study these things, David." And I said, "I do." They said, "Look what we found under the eaves. Mother has Alzheimer's. We have to get her institutional care. We have to get the house ready for an auctioneer. We knew nothing about these. We pulled them out from under the eaves." And they showed me this one for a member of the one of their ancestors, Deborah Bunn, daughter of Jonathan Bunn and Mary whoever, 1796, I guess. Rebecca, and here's the verse down here, eaten away, but it's still there. It's relatively intact. The other one celebrates the death of General Butler. The general is lying back against the tree, blood, red, right? Not bright, but definitely red blood out of each nostril. Red things, bloody gouges here through his uniform. And the Indian, really, I'm not exaggerating, the Indian was up over him like this, a little bit with a tomahawk, ready to do it the last time. That celebrates the birth of a child. So I looked up General Butler, because this was my own stuff, I didn't understand it. General Butler was sent out across the Ohio River to the Western Reserve, that section, to fight the Indians. He engaged them right away. He was severely wounded. And so was another brother. I read this in some little encyclopedia of American history. A third brother came out. General Butler said to the third brother, the rescuer, "Save so-and-so," the second brother. So the third brother saved the second brother and left the third brother to the savages and came home and told it all around. I left the noblest of brothers to the savages or whatever. And it must have so excited and engaged everyone in every village that somebody up outside the village in Hopewell, New Jersey, a couple of years later, is it on there, George, the next one? It's in there somewhere, because I saw it on the floor tonight. You gotta see it. No? I'll find it.
Look on the floor.
Yeah, on the floor. I dropped it back in, I thought. A farm girl, daughter of farming parents in Barnesboro. Gloucester County. All right, let's not,
You got the wrong one.
There were two before that, then.
Go the other way, get the other way.
I am.
We saw that,
But there's one before that.
we saw that.
let's try before that.
No.
All right, well, I'll take a look, because I think I saw it when I was picking them up off the floor, and if I can find it, we'll see it in a few minutes. Meanwhile, there's something else on, did you say? George is hungry?
Jim wants his coffee.
Sign
This one.
of a Christian
Right.
and of the Eucharist. And if it was a Methodist ministry, you probably put that in there because it was symbolic of a Christian.
I think Jim is right on target. I think this fish doesn't look like the rest of the guy's work, which is fixed, rigid, and repeated from document to document. I've never seen the fish anywhere else either. I think he was doing a number for the Father.
Scripture anyway.
Well, you saw the fish on the Book of Hours. There were two nice bluish, beautiful bluish. Yeah, I think you're right, that it has religious significance, although the Pennsylvania German documents were often not just birth commemorations, but also they celebrated baptism. Birth, Taufschein, I think, is baptismal certificate. There isn't much of that in the New Jersey stuff, not much religious material. Other questions? I'm sure I missed a few.
Very good.
Major points by Rushing. Well, I would like, if you run across any, I would like to hear about them so I can add them to the list. In the back of this article, of which I'm going to get Irene a copy for your library, is a checklist of about 100. Almost all of them are, I have documented, I have proof that almost all of them originated in New Jersey. And what I did on the sabbatical was try to enlarge that list, and I did find another couple dozen unrecorded ones to add to it. So I'd like some more help. If you come across one, please
Just,
write me a note.
Carol's cousin has a friend that did this kind of work, and I never knew. Yeah, I never knew really. I always thought it was nice with the colors and everything. And Carol's mother gave us a gift. She had your cousin, and they're like that.
Yeah, one for each daughter's birth. Bunny James, you ever see the horn? Bunny's has a rabbit at the bottom, and James has a pig.
So a couple of years ago, something like Dave
Yeah.
giving a talk. He said, I don't know what that rabbit is there for, or what that pig is there for.
There's quite a revival tradition going on. I saw a couple of Proctor artists at the Bucks County Folk Festival. I was going for years up there in Doylestown. It's the first year I've gotten there. Let me mention one last detail before you are free to come stand in front of the fan or whatever you want to do next, and that is that the word F-R-A-K-T-U-R, Fraktur, is a German word referring to a centuries-old elaborate typeface where the lettering is broken up in all these decorative flourishes and swirls, fractured or broken. F-R-A-K-T-U-R.
Well, they did get that from, actually, from the word fracture.
The word fracture, as Irene says, it says fracture,
Comes from, actually, it is from fracture.
comes from the German word for broken, and fraktur, a typeface, a broken, a several hundreds of years old, decorative German typeface from the early printing days where the letters, or at least the capitals and some other letters, were elaborately scrolled and decorated and squiggled, the rest of it. And it's descended, but when my grandmother did call that one, she gave me a fracture. But she didn't know fraktur in the German derivation of the word. So they are really fraktur schriften, broken writings, fraktur schriften. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Let me know, please, if you run across one that has something. Thank you so much. And I'm going to look for General Butler expiration in those carousels before George packs them up. Let's take a number one out. It's a dark slide. This is a slide taken by the husband of the descendant. But is it blood all over the Indian? Blood out of his nose, blood here, bloody smears here, and there's the battlefield.
Why would they put that on a question?
I think because it was the most sensational material the artist had heard of in the village in a long time. What else? The original of this document is mom's house, they're younger than I am, didn't even know this stuff was there. But they knew they were, the wife knew she was descended from the Bunns. She knew they were ancestors. Her mother had given her over the years and talked about family documents like deeds and wills. So the daughter knew right away this was family stuff, but they were not aware that they were in the attic. They were clearing out what they wanted or checking everything before the auctioneer came in. That's absolutely amazing. So this is the brother who said, save Thomas or George or whatever, and the third brother saved him and came back and said, I had to leave the noblest brother to the savage as he died, etc., etc. Isn't that amazing? I've never seen anything like it. Is it Germanic American stuff, the New Jersey stuff? Yeah, this is Cousin Butler, obviously. It's amazing. Little nothing.